software project manager. I've worked at Adobe and Microsoft and some other companies around Silicon Valley. Actually, working at Adobe was a relatively big deal for me because I had access to some of the best software in the world for making these kind of videos for pretty cheap when I was working at Adobe. So it allowed me to kind of pick it up for low cost and try it out and see if I liked it. So that was a big deal. The actual thing that sort of set it off was a long time ago, 3 years ago maybe. I saw a video that somebody else had made. It was Code Monkey by somebody called the Ill Clan, and it suddenly dawned on me, hey, anybody can do this. You know, if these guys can do it, I can do it. So as I was driving to work over the next couple of weeks, I'd get ideas in my head for funny shots or something like that. So I just finally sat down and decided I was going to give it a shot. It ended up being popular enough that, you know, I made another one, and I started getting better and better, so it sort of snowballed from there. When I first started off, it was definitely low pro. I was just using iMovie to stitch together shots that I was capturing using Snaps Pro X, which is a software from Ambrosia Software, because I'm on a Mac. I think if you're on a PC, most people are using Fraps. I've actually got a web page on my website that describes all the tools I use and gives tips and that kind of stuff. But as I've gone along, I've experimented and gotten better with some of the more high pro software. So I actually still use Snaps Pro X to capture the video, but I use After Effects to stitch together all the shots and put special effects on them and that type of stuff. Of course, I use Photoshop. You can't do anything without Photoshop nowadays. I still use iMovie to toss the clips together real quick just to see if it's getting the effect that I want, but I no longer use that for the final product. The final product I use Premiere Pro, just because it comes out with a much better looking final product. And again, there's a there's a page on my website that describes all of these tools. There's actually sort of an easier way to make videos, and then the kind of harder way that I do, and it describes both ways if you want to see if it's something you want to do. It's really a tough question because, I don't know, I've got 20 or 21, 22 videos by now. I like Dr. Skullcrusher, the little gnome from Skullcrusher Mountain, and Liv, because the gnome's emotes have got a lot of personality in WoW, so he sort of has ended up with a lot of personality. I kind of like Tom from Tom Cruise Crazy, because I kind of like the way he lives in his own little world. So he's, you know, the blood elves are kind of haughty and remote, but he's so laughable that I think it makes a nice, well-rounded characters. And I don't know, I kind of like the joy of Dance Satirius Johnson Dance. I like all the dancing. It's a lot of energy. I've always liked that song. I also like the idea of Dr. Martin, the blood elf that sort of seems to keep popping up in my videos, stealing people's girls. I like the idea of him as a recurring character, although that character himself hasn't had a chance to really show much personality himself. We haven't had a video about Dr. Martin, so he's sort of a better idea than he is an actual character. That's actually kind of a tough one, because I'd love to branch out and do other songs just to find stuff that's fun and interesting that fits well with my style. But it's been tough because, like, Jonathan Colton songs and my video making style just seem to fit together so well. I haven't been able to find a whole lot of other people that fit well. And even not every Jonathan Colton song will fit well with what I want to do. So, like, the perfect fit is a song that tells a story that kind of moves forward like a 3-act play. You know, like the first stanza sets up the characters and the action. The second one escalates the action, usually presents a dilemma, and then there's some kind of resolution. Hopefully it's a funny, ironic sort of resolution in the third stanza. And actually, many Jonathan Colton songs actually kind of leave that resolution kind of vague, which is perfect for me, because then I can go in and fill in my own ideas for what a good resolution would be. Like in Re Your Brains, Colton never actually says what happens at the end, but at the end of my video, the guy's a dork and he opens the door and all the zombies rush in. Or Code Monkey, he kind of leaves it vague, and at the end I've got him up on the roof, maybe becoming friends, maybe more than that, we don't really know. Shopvac has got a resolution that is probably more surprising. I'm not sure that Colton himself would have put that into his song, but when he leaves it a little open like that, that's best for me, because then I can slip something in there. Hopefully my resolutions feel like they were there all along, and you just didn't know it till you saw it. And I've been able to work with some songs that don't really fit that mold. Like Bacteria doesn't really tell much of a story. It's just a training video for Kentucky Fried Chicken that Jonathan Golden put some cool music to. But I was able to sort of make it feel like it tells a story. And The Captain's Wife Lament, it's a Paul and Storm song. It's not a Jonathan Colton song. It kind of tells a quickie story at the beginning, and then it spends the second half of the song just flogging this one semen joke over and over and over again, which is really funny. But that was enough for me to work with, was sort of half a song. So I've got, what I hope I'm going to get out of a song, or what fits perfectly, and then there's other ones that I found I can sort of work around with. I would say probably Tom Cruise Crazy was the hardest, because for the longest time I couldn't figure out how I'd fill 3.5 or 4 minutes of video with the Tom Cruise video. Eventually I hit on the idea of using gags playing off his movies, and that seemed to fill in the middle part, but I couldn't figure out how to wrap it up or what a good resolution would be. And then my nephew, who I'd been IMing with, who'd been helping me with the movie gags, most of the good ones in the video are from him, he said, if this guy's so narcissistic and crazy, he should just marry himself. I said, genius, that's perfect, we're going to do that. And so it ended up being, I thought, the perfect wrap up to that video, that you don't see it coming, but then once you see it, you're like, oh, that was the only way this thing could wrapped up. And I like doing it that way. The most difficult video to make technically has by far been Cruel, Cruel Moon. It's because just about every shot is made up of many smaller shots. They're all sliding in or zooming in or off with different transitions and that type of stuff. So it wasn't just me putting a bunch of clips together and making a video. Everything took work. Every little thing there couldn't just sit on the screen. It had to move, or it had to do something. So the story itself is pretty simple. It's about a guy who gets eaten by his werewolf girlfriend. But I was purposely punching up the difficulty to make it sort of more visually interesting. And it seemed to work out. That video got second place at BlizzCon this last year, which was a huge honor. I didn't expect it. Dance to Tyrese Johnson, Dance. Because that one just sort of felt right as I was making it from the beginning. A lot of times I'll make a video and I'll get to the end and I'll just be convinced that this thing is going to suck until I go back and sort of squeeze the suck out of it until it no longer sucks. But this one, the constant dancing and the insider wow jokes and stuff give it a lot of fun energy. So it was a lot of fun to make as I was going. And it's got the fun twist at the end with Dr. Martin, which I knew would be really popular. And that song has always had a lot of joy to it, a lot of energy, and my main goal was just to make sure that translated into my video, and I think it went well. I like that one a lot.